Welcome to the very first episode of the Cardboard Market Post, which in this weekly series, we're going to be bringing you news and stories on the hottest and coldest Major League Baseball players and how that reflects into their trading card market. My goal for the series is to bring you guys some knowledge and some news when it comes to baseball players and also baseball prospects. If they're big name or low names, and seeing what are these players doing that's affecting their trading card market. Are they having a hot week, a hot month, and we're seeing their weekly sales and their monthly sales go up? Are we seeing baseball players go on a bad slump where their card market is reflecting that, which could be potential buy sells? That's my goal for this series here, and hopefully you guys do enjoy this type of series. Now, if this is something that does interest you, please feel free to leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because that shows me here that you guys are interested in this weekly content and want to see this here moving forward. I do also have my baseball podcast called Cardboard Dugout that I do with my brother. Link also down below. Card will be around here somewhere, where we're obviously going to break down these into further detail, because obviously a podcast format gives us a little bit more time with a video. I want to get this out as quickly as soon as possible. So, but again, if you guys like this breakdown, want to see more of it, or want to see even more in-depth analysis, I could totally do that. So again, please feel free to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Now, the first thing I want to talk about before we talk any players, this is not meant to be taken as financial advice. I am not telling you to go out and buy a series of these players trading cards if that's their first Bowman, their inserts, and whatever set is coming out. This is not meant to be. So again, do your own research, make your own your own purchases with your own due diligence here. So again, want to preface here that this is not meant to be taken as financial advice. So again, with all that being said, let's dive deep into the video. First series of news and players we're going to talk about here is Rafael Devers and the move to DH and the struggles so far on this opening weekend. Now, this opening weekend here was one to forget for Rafael Devers. He's currently 0 for 16 with 12 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 1 RBI. One of those RBIs coming from a bases loaded walk. Now, Rafael Devers is a very interesting case and very interesting player. Obviously, he is one of my favorite players. I am a Boston Red Sox fan, if you guys can't tell. So, we had thought immediately that the move to DH will do benefit for Rafael Devers, because if you guys, follow Rafael Devers, you guys know he's always dealing with some nagging injuries when it comes to playing third base. Last year, he was dealing with his shoulders. He's always dealing with some type of elbow issue. So we thought, the primary move to DH will better suit him. I think long term, it is going to better suit him, both from the field wise, and it's going to reflect into his card market. It's just right now he's off to a horrendous slump right now. He set the record for 10 strikeouts through 3 games. That is a major league record. So some things that you don't want to see. I am curious to see though how the move to DH is going to reflect into his card market. Just because obviously he's always been tied down to third base. Granted, not the best defensive third baseman, but the argument can be made that he's always been one of the top 5 third basemen. And because it's primarily carried through with his bat. While he's not horrendous at third base, he's definitely not the best Golden Glove out there that we see compared to a Jose Ramirez, Matt Chapman, Nolan Arenado, guys like that. But a comp that I want to make a comparison to is Yordan Alvarez, because we're also seeing Yordan Alvarez also make the move to DH. That's the reason why Jose Altuve is playing left field. How long that's going to last, time will tell. But I kind of want to make a comp to Yordan Alvarez. So you can see here on this is courtesy via StatHead, and all these, when it comes to cards, prices is all going to be courtesy of Card Ladder. I'm not affiliated with either companies. These are just what I like to use. So with Yordan Alvarez and Rafael Devers, this is through 2019, because that's when Yordan Alvarez made the debut into the major leagues. So you can see here, Yordan's a little bit of a better player, a little bit over 2 WAR, 23.6, while Rafael Devers is 21.4. Obviously has about 200 games over Yordan. Plate appearances, has more hits, has more home runs and RBIs, and stolen bases. We don't care about stolen bases with these type of players, but obviously that's going to come if you're playing more games. The little bit of the advanced metrics here, that not really advanced, but batting average, on base percentage, slugging, OPS, and OPS plus does go towards Yordan. And obviously, since 2019, Yordan has had a little bit more accomplishments with the championship, 3 All-Star appearances, has 1 more Silver Slugger, and has 1 more LCS MVP. Devers obviously does have a championship from the 2018 team. But I want to take a look here at the prices of their cards, because I think now that since both players are essentially now DHs, it's going to be curious to see how they reflect. So you can see here where Yordan, this is his 2018 Bowman Chrome at a $4.99 at a PSA 10. And this is 2015 Bowman Rafael Devers. I was missing the first Bowman because this is considered his first Bowman Chrome autograph. we can see here just the dramatic changes in prices. So you can see here the starting price were a little bit similar. Jordan was at 127, Rafael Devers at 104. Our current price here for Rafael Devers is $91, and the current price here for Jordan Alvarez is pushing over $900, and Devers has a little bit more sales at 100. Jordan's at 83. You can see here the average price, a big difference here, and the higher prices in sales as well. Rafael Devers having a higher price sold of $500, and Jordan nearly doubling that with a low price of 127 and a Rafael Devers low price of $80. Now again, going to be curious to see how this reflects moving forward. Obviously, Devers, I would expect that back to pick up. So I would, maybe this correlates into his sales going a little bit higher. Maybe people start recognizing that he's one of the better bats in the league. And of course, that's what people love. People love home runs and love, big hits, clutch moments, things like that. So maybe if the Red Sox make that push to the postseason, maybe we're going to see his cards translate into a higher market and translate to higher sales. But Rafael Devers is one of the players that I want to keep an eye on here as we move in forward to the 2025 season. Now, keeping it with the Boston Red Sox, let's talk Kristian Campbell, one of the Red Sox top prospect and a part of the big three, along with Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. Now, Kristian Campbell, unlike Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, Kristian Campbell did break camp with the Boston Red Sox, so he is going to have that MLB debut patch probably coming in Topps Chrome update, so that's pretty sure that's going to be a big chase. I have talked about Kristian Campbell in the past. You guys know that I am a big fan of Kristian Campbell. I have a video that I made months ago, so I was talking about his cards here, and they've obviously translated pretty well. So again, if you've been following the channel, you guys know I like to talk about top prospects or even some lower tier prospects that are making the way up through the ranks that you potentially want to keep an eye on. So again, if you guys haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. But Kristian Campbell through 4 games is hitting .429 with the on-base percentage of 500 with an OPS at 1.286 with 1 home run. And you can see here his first Bowman autograph has translated that you were able to buy first Bowman PSA 10 Chrome autographs of Kristian Campbell for $11. Let that sink in. You're able to buy this one around January, December when 2023 Bowman draft dropped for $11. Raw sales were showing like anywhere from $5 to $10. Now prices are anywhere up from like $300 to $400. I did have a lower tier autograph. It did have a scratch on it, unfortunately, so I knew it wasn't going to PSA 10. I bought that a couple of months ago for like $80, $75, and I sold it on eBay for $140. So basically, 2xing my funds. And you can see your card letter here valued here at $400. There is a pop 142. So now, there's a little bit out there, so you can find them. But 2023 Bowman draft, Kristian Campbell. Any of his cards are obviously blowing up, even the color parallels and non-number cards. All of his cards right now are on a rise just because of his performance so far through the opening day weekend. And obviously, I think he is going to be a star to come. If you guys watch Kristian Campbell, a little bit quirky with the swing, but it works. The advanced analytics show that his swing does work for him. The Red Sox are already working on a contract extension for him, like a Jackson Chourio, Corbin Carroll type extension. So I think that's also going to help his card market. So Kristian Campbell, his cards are on the rise, are continuously on the rise. So maybe if you have some of his cards and you're looking to sell, maybe it'd be a good time. Buying wise, I think right now they are very inflated, so I don't think it's a good time to get into Kristian Campbell cards. But again, if you've been holding a little bit of a fat stack, you've been following some of my stuff, you guys will know that Kristian Campbell is one of my favorites, and I think his card market, may or may not continue to go higher. Now, let's stay in the AL East, but let's get away from the prospect and let's go back to more of established players. And let's talk about Aaron Judge and his fast start. Through 4 games, he's hitting .545 with the on-base of 643 and OPS at 2.461 with 4 home runs. That's a club record through 3 games. Aaron Judge, I think, is a very interesting player. Of course, we love our prospects. We love our fast players who are, down the minors who might make their rise up, like your Jack Caglianones, your Dylan Cruzes, who's now up with the Nationals, your Travis Bazanas, your Kristian Campbells. We love those players. We love to speculate on those players, but there's no denying the fact of established MLB players. I think that's important. Aaron Judge is one of the best right-handed hitters of our generation. That's something we talked about on our podcast when we first launched it. If he is one of the greatest right-handed hitters of our generation, obviously with home run records, almost breaking it last year, MVPs. There's no denying that Aaron Judge is established right-handed hitter, and I think that's something you got to consider with his cards. You can take a look here. Just looking at his 2017 Topps Chrome base card here. You can see it from the Topps Chrome at a PSA 10. Low price here of $95. He had a high price of $225. You can see this sale here around February, and it kind of went back down and slowly gone back up. I think with Aaron Judge, obviously he's gonna have these tendencies where he just goes on a mass streak of just hitting home runs. Then he goes on a little bit of a cold streak, which that can be a potential buying opportunity. Again, not financial advice. Want to preface that here. But I think with Aaron Judge, it's important to recognize that if you're trying to buy cards, you're trying to flip, you're trying to invest, whatever the case may be, it's always good to have one of those players who's very liquid. And I think Aaron Judge and a few others are like that. So you can't go wrong with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge continues to show that he's one of the best hitters in the game, even without Juan Soto. And obviously the Yankees being off to a fast start and being in that market, who knows, maybe we see his card price increase even more. Keeping it with the Yankees, let's talk Jazz Chisholm and his torpedo bat. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was some controversy online after it was found out here that the Yankees are using like a new style molded bat where basically the more wood of the bat is being put towards the label of the barrel. Basically, that's where more impact is being made. The story behind it is that they did a study on Anthony Volpe and shown here that he was hitting more balls on the label of the bat and not the barrel. So, of course, science and knowledge shows that if you put more wood towards the logo and you hit more towards on that barrel, you're going to make more contact and you're going to hit the ball further. And Jazz Chisholm is also a courtesy of that. He is using a new bat. It's not legal for right now. Other teams are also using it based on the MLB ruling. It's not legal. We're seeing other teams use it. The Twins, Ryan Jeffers used it. It came out today that the Red Sox and Alex Cora had some players also using it in spring training, or we're using it during practice. So it's going to be more of a thing that I think we're going to see here. But it's going to be curious to see what players are using it and if it affects their card market. So let's talk Jazz Chisholm. So Jazz Chisholm obviously, has played with a couple of teams that are playing for the Marlins now with the Yankees, a little bit more of a notable market. And we saw a little bit of his cards slowly increase already with the trade. But I think if his performance stays on the pace that he is right now, what's to say his cards can't go even a little bit more higher? He is a very, outspoken player. He likes wearing like the one piece, type gear, which is very sick. And I think he's one of the more popular players with like kids and stuff like that and like young adults. So, there may be somebody who wants to go buy his card now just because of the talent that he's showing. And who knows what can happen. So let's take a look at it here. So first off, with the torpedo bat, the 3 games right now is hitting .417, on base percentage of .500, OPS at 1.167, and has 3 home runs, so just one shy of Aaron Judge. And you can take a look here. This is looking at his first Bowman autograph. You can see here when he was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you can already see the price is already kind of increasing here. You can see here you could have bought this at a low price of $44. Current price here is at $66, and we're seeing like an average price of $148. So you're kind of seeing it gone up, gone down. This is obviously during his call up. Go down because he did struggle a little. There's no denying that he has had some struggles. Gone back up here a little bit during 2024. This is probably like during the trade-in, during the Yankees performance. They did have a solid performance as well when he got traded to the Yankees last year. And again here, kind of seeing it going back down. But again, after this performance here, wouldn't not be surprised if this goes up. But some players, and some collectors or some people who like to buy cards just like to also buy the player they're currently with right now. There's some players or some Yankee fans who may be like, hey, I don't want to buy a Jazz Chisholm with the Diamondbacks. I want to buy his card with the Yankees. So I went to take a look here at the 2025 Top Series 1, his throwback anniversary card. And you kind of already see it here, the increase in prices. So you can see here during the March, like the first weeks of March, this card was selling from anywhere from like $40 to $30. And now we're seeing this card double that. We're seeing it one sale on March 19th for $50. And we have one sale on March 30th for nearly $100. So granted, it's one sale, but I wouldn't be surprised if this outlier sale is the 10 of what we're going to see moving forward with Jazz Chisholm themed Yankee cards and or autographs. So yeah, keep an eye on their Jazz Chisholm. He may not be a bad buy. So if you can find some lower tier color stuff and maybe flip it, he may be a good buy for that. Now this one here, I want to talk about Mookie Betts. Now Mookie Betts, obviously another established player, but I think we're going to see something very interesting with Mookie Betts and Mookie Betts cards. So you can see here by the little title that I titled this slide. Mookie Betts down pounds but still hitting. If you guys don't know, he was dealing with some weird like sickness or whatever was going on, but basically was like throwing up after eating meals, and I think it was down like almost like 30 pounds. I think we told reports that he was weighing like 150 pounds, which is tough when when you're losing pounds, when you're playing the game of baseball at a premier position like shortstop. That's tough. But even through 2 games here, he is still hitting. Granted, it's 2 games, but still showing that he's still on a high performance level. Hitting .500 with 2 home runs, hit the walk-off home run on the ring ceremony night. Now, if you guys don't know, Mookie Betts is back to signing autograph for Topps. If you guys noticed here, there was a lot of autographs missing for Mookie Betts. So there wasn't a lot out there, but now the autographs are back. So we're going to be seeing a lot of autographed Mookie Betts cards coming through. I know there were some already in Topps archive that were hitting eBay. So I don't know if they sold. Yeah, I'll put a graphic here if they have sold. But some Mookie Betts cards were already hitting. So I think his market is very, very interesting. And I don't think Mookie Betts gets the respect that the hobby should show him. And I kind of wanted to just put it for a little bit of a reference here. So this is Mookie Betts' 2024 Bowman, first Bowman Superfractor. It's at a BGS 9. You can see here, this sold for $79,000, which obviously is a lot of money, a lot of funds. Jack Caglione, his first Bowman Superfractor autograph, sold for $80,000. That's more than Mookie Betts. Jack Caglione has not done anything in the Major League Baseball scene. Granted, yes, hits balls very hard. I talked about him in one of my other previous videos. Hits the ball very hard. Potential two-way player, even though right now he's only focusing on hitting. He's not pitching right now. But the fact that Jack Caglione Superfractor sold more than Mookie Betts, to me, that's just absolutely crazy. And that's where sometimes the hobby just loses me. Because if I'm me, I had that kind of money, I'm buying 10 of those Mookie Betts Superfractors. I'm buying one Mookie Betts Superfractor than a Jack Caglione. So again, Mookie Betts, just wanted to make this reference here because I think he's always going to be an MVP favorite. He's always going to be in the MVP contention, playing shortstop at a high level, hitting at a high level, playing with the team with the Dodgers that has a lot of high tier level talent. But I think Mookie Betts doesn't get the respect that he deserves. And I think maybe after this year, or maybe during the course of the year, when we see his crazy MVP performance, or whatever that he does during the year, we will see Mookie Betts and his cards translate into that performance. Alrighty, guys, so that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you guys want to see more of this type of content, the more of the sit down, the breakdown of what players are doing, the numbers, what their cards are doing, things like that, etc., please feel free to leave a like and comment down below, because that does show me that you guys want to see that type of content moving forward. And please feel free to subscribe to the channel, because again, that shows me that you guys want to see it, and it's a free way to help support me and support my content so that I can continue to bring this here moving forward. I do thank you guys for watching and supporting all of my content. If it's the videos, the podcasts, or short form videos, I thank you guys for tuning into all those types of content. I really, really do appreciate it. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.